Okay, awesome. Were you guys able to see the demo here? Okay, so this is sort of what we're going to be building. This is like the final product. So you can add a course here. Let's say we do Math 102 this time. And then you can go into the course and then you can add some grades. So I don't know, you have like PSAT 1 or something, about 70%, and then it's worth like 9. And then you have your midterm, 95, and so on. This is the final product, and this is the starter code I gave you. Everything here is static, so if you click anywhere, it's not really going to work. We're going to be doing that as part of the workshop. Yeah, so okay, let's get started on the theory section. Okay. All right, so state variables. What's a state variable? It's basically, you can think of it as a normal variable, but whenever this variable sort of updates, the component that's using this state variable is also going to re-render. You have to keep that in mind. There's different sort of states. There's a local state, there's a global state, usually done with contexts or libraries. You can also use hooks for state management and GraphQL. I don't know how that you can do that. But here's the diagram of how it kind of works. So you update this state Joe in state object, and it goes to the store. It updates it sends the updated value, and then now you can see it. Like it just like the component will re-render. There's, like I said, there's two types of states. There's local state, and you typically use the use state hook for that. And then there's global state. The built-in hook that typically you use for global state is use context. But we're going to be covering Redux. There's also Zustand. I really like Zustand now, but Redux is more like industry standard at this point. There's many other libraries as well. So yeah, I think we sort of covered this. What happens when a state variable updates? The component that's using that state is going to be re-rendered. And keep in mind, if the components are re-rendering too many times, that can lead to performance issues. And we want to make sure we're not unnecessarily re-rendering. Redux is a general design pattern. So generally you have a view, it dispatches an action. Then that action gets reduced in the store. The store is updated and then the view is updated. So it kind of gives you an opinionated pattern to use when you want to update your UI. This is general, so you can use Redux with any library, but this is how it works with React. You have some action creators, you have a global store, reducers, and then the state is going to update the React components. Okay, there's some key concepts, but before I go there, are there any questions? Does it make sense so far? Awesome. Okay, so the first key concept is the Redux store. So the Redux store is the main central bucket, which stores all of the states of an application. It's basically your single source of truth for the state of the application. So all your like client-side state data is just stored in this one place, and it shouldn't really be anywhere else. So here's a diagram. You have this one central store here, the circle, and all of the components are using it through the provider. The other key concept is actions. So when you want to update some value within the store, you need to dispatch an action. The only way you can update state really is by dispatching actions, which is why like that makes it powerful because it makes it easier to debug since you know exactly what you can look at the actions and analyze them and see what's going wrong. So core concept, actions are plain objects representing events that change the state, dispatched to the store to initiate updates. And yeah, like I said, they're the only way to interact with the store. If you want to change the state of an application, then you need to dispatch an action. Here's sort of an example code of how dispatch works. You have uh, you have the use dispatch hook, and you create an action object, and then you dispatch it. If it doesn't make sense right now, don't worry. We'll be doing it in live, so it'll make sense then. There's also reducers. So they basically take the previous state and an action that you dispatch, and then they reduce it. So better, you can also think of it as combine. They combine it into one state. And that new state is basically the updated instance. For example, here we were adding an item to cart. So the reducer is going to take the cart state and then it's going to put this book name inside the cart. And that would be your new state or your new instance. So whenever an action is dispatched, all the reducers are activated. Each reducer filters out the action using a switch statement, switching on the action type. So basically what this is saying is that you see the type property here. That's how Redux knows like what reducer to use, because we're gonna have multiple reducers. Each sort of state has like a bunch of reducers for each of its properties. So keep that in mind. And then we have selectors. Selector is basically like it's a hook, use selector, and by using that hook, you can select which property you want from the state, and then you can fetch it. And yeah, it just keeps everything like nice and abstracted. Good for scalability. If you put it all together, this is how it kind of works. You have an action being dispatched by an event. It goes to the store, goes to reducer updates the state, and then once the state is updated, whatever UI is affected, it's gonna reflect that change, and then the user might like dispatch another action or so. For example, the click event here. If you know React, you might be wondering, why don't we just use context? What's the point of Redux? It's something people ask. There's a lot of differences. Context is good for like smaller applications, but when should we use Redux and why should we use Redux? It's designed for larger scale enterprise applications. So a lot of times when you go in the industry and you're doing a software engineering job, and if they're using React, there's a good chance they're also using Redux Toolkit. When you have a large application, updates can get really complicated, right? So Redux Toolkit, it provides structure. Like it's a pattern, right? So there's a set structure. There's slices, reducers, actions. Your code is very easy to understand, manage, and debug. And you know exactly where things are happening. There's also the performance aspect. So I kind of hinted at this one before, where when you update a state, all of the components that's using it is going to be re-rendered. When you use context, anytime you update any state, the entire app is re-rendered, and that's not good for performance. When you're using Redux, it'll only update the component that's directly dependent on the state you update. So using selectors and only re-rendering components that rely on specific parts of the state reduces unnecessary re-renders. It's also easier to debug. There's developer tools like Redux DevTools. They provide time travel debugging. Time travel means like you can go back on the actions. Let's say you added a grade or something. In the debugger, you can undo that and then go like one step up before you updated before you added the grade. And that's typically in the action history thing. You can also do snapshots. It's also good for scalability since it's a pattern. Everything is in slices. There's modularity. It's easier to add more slices, manage interactions. So those are some of the reasons you would use Redux, and that's your average Redux user. Okay, so let's get started on some coding. I'll send this link again in the chat, and just set that up. We'll take 3 minutes. I'll wait 3 minutes. You can set up the application. So just clone it and then just follow the instructions, I guess. Just clone it here, cd into the app, and then install, and then run it. And once it runs, should be good. I'll send the link here. Yeah, I'll share the slides at the end. And again, like I mentioned, this is basically a stripped down version of like one of my side projects. So in the future, if you want to look at if you don't get to complete it during the workshop, you can also just go to my side project. I think it's pinned here, and you can just reference this as well. But yeah, at I guess 11:29, we'll continue. Okay, how did it go? You guys have it up and running? Awesome. Okay, let's do some code base overview. From this point on, it's going to become sort of like live coding. You can follow along. I'll give you time to type in as well. So let's go through the structure of the project. I'm going to make this one bigger so it's easy to see. Okay. All right. So I also have this Redux Toolkit basics file. So if you want to open this as a preview, open preview, it sort of gives you an overview of like creating a slice, like how you would create a slice here. This is a counter. It just has a value. Oops. Um, it has 3 reducers. There's an increment, reducer, decrement, and then increment by amount. And then you export these reducers, and yeah, you export the reducer here. Those are actions. This is how you set up the store. And then this is how you need to use the provider on your and provide the store to your React app, like wrap it around. And then this is example usage. So here we're using the selector to get the current count. And then use dispatch is how we actually dispatch actions. So this is a built-in hook if you install Redux Toolkit. And then on click, you see here how it's dispatching the increment action. So this would be like whatever the state is +1, and then you click it again +2, and then the update, like the UI will be updated real time. Okay, so here's the app. You can sort of ignore this stuff. If you're curious, we're just using Daisy UI for the UI stuff. There's also some Tailwind, but you don't need to worry about that. So let's go to source. This is the general layout. I guess I'll start with the utils. Utils, like in utils, you usually keep like helper functions, things that you want to reuse across multiple components, but they're mostly like pure functions. They're not related to like React. So for example, here I have some functions for grade. So this calculate total weight and grade. It's going to return the total weight and the total grade, given some grades. Calculate average grade. Given some grades, it's just going to calculate the average grade. Calculate the minimum grade, maximum grade. I think we're not going to be using these ones, so you don't have to worry about these. And then there's some GPA ones. So calculate GPA from courses, calculate GPA from grade. There's like a scale defined here, and so on. You're basically just going to be using these functions, so you just need to know like the usage. As long as you know how like it works, you don't really need to know the implementation details. There's types. You can ignore this. I remember I had to do this for like TypeScript configuration. So don't worry about this too much. This is the store. So all your Redux stuff typically goes in the store. You typically have a slices folder where you put each of the slice. And then you have an index, which is kind of like wraps everything and export. So I have some to-dos here. We're going to be going over these. There's the course slice. We're going to be working on this one. And then there's the grade slide. There's also a toast slide. Don't worry about this one. It's basically toasts are basically little slide overs that show up. So every time you add a grade, it's gonna like slide over and say success or something. So I have that on the slides too, but you don't have to worry about that one. You can explore it later in your own time. You have pages. So we have two pages really. We have the dashboard. That's the first page you see. It has stats and then it has the courses. Then there's the course page, which is once you click on a course over here. This is the course page. The course page has, yeah, so the dashboard is more like nicely organized. Typically, you want to have something like this. So there's the stats. You can see the stats, and then you have the table courses component. Okay. And then for each of these pages, if you go in the component folder, you have the pages here again, but this folder now encompasses like all of the components that the page uses. So for example, in the dashboard, we had semester stats and we had courses, right? So if you go into semester stats, you can see it here. So that's the stats component. And then you have the courses table component, which at the moment is just static data. And then you also have an add course modal. I don't think I demoed this one, but I'll show you later. Then this is the course page. There's some more stats, grades, row, edit course. There's some shared components like empty row. And this should also be in the shared folder, navbar and toast. Make sense so far? Let me see the chat. Nice. If you have any questions, just type them in. I'll keep checking the chat. Yeah, we also have some hooks. Use toast. So again, don't worry about this toast stuff. We just know that we're using the toast. Okay. So next, we can go ahead and create the grade and course slices. So we have, let's go to the store. You can follow along at this point. So you can maybe start with the courses slice because that's the dashboard. I have a couple of types defined here. So this is what a course should look like. It should have an ID, it should have a name, it should have a weight. And then this is the state, the slice state. So you have a bunch of courses in the application. This is a course array. And then you have a selected course. This is mainly just for like if you want to edit the course, you can define a selected course and then the app will know that this is the one you have selected. Okay, so let's add an initial state in our courses. So go here, let's do this to do. So if we want to define an initial state, we can do const initial state. Let's give it a type of course state, which we define up here. And then you want to just define an object here. So courses initially should be empty. And selected courses initially should be undefined. Makes sense because at this application, we haven't really selected anything or added anything. So that's our empty state. Now we want to create the actual slice. So let's define the slice here, courses slice. You use the create slice function from Redux Toolkit, and you pass in an object. You give it a name. So we can call it courses. You provide the initial state. You could have also just defined the state like directly in there, but I like to typically separate it out. So initial state, and then you have your reducers. Okay, so we're essentially going to have 4 reducers. There's 4 things you can do with courses. You can add a course, you can edit a course, you can delete a course, and also, oh yeah, and then set a selected course. We also need to set. So we have add, delete, um, edit, select. So we have these 4 operations. Let's do add first. So we can do add course, call it add course. So we're defining this reducer, add course. It always takes the current state. Remember, like the reducers reduce the previous state and then the new action together, right? So it's going to take the previous state and then it's going to take an action. And you can just type it as so payload action. This is the type you want to use. If you don't understand TypeScript, just copy this along. Don't worry about it too much. And then the body of this reducer, all this reducer is doing is it's pushing the course you provide into the courses array. So action.payload. Okay, I think I should explain this a bit. So we're given the previous state and we're given an action. And we know that this action is going to be of this type. It's going to be a payload action and it contains a course. So it's going to contain this. It's a course object. We have a courses array in our state. All we're doing is pushing that course object that we got. Action.payload is the course object. We're just pushing that into the array. Does it make sense? Awesome. Yeah. Another thing to note is that you know how we have this courses array? You can't like you always have to use the initial like the array you set up. Like you can't replace values. So you have to use push. You can't just like set it to a new array. Okay. Hey, we can do delete next. We could either do all the reducers now. Actually, yeah, let's do all the reducers now and then we can move on to the other stuff. Let's do delete course. Same thing here. You have state and you have an action. Payload action course. So we expect to get a course object in our payload uh, from the UI. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna be deleting the course, right? Course, right? So we're just gonna we're gonna need the ID of the course. So ID action payload. So we're basically like fetching, just extracting the ID out of the payload. Remember, the course object here is this. You could also just not do this if you don't understand this. Um, actually, yeah, let's do it another way. So let's find the course index. So to find the index, you can do course. Let's write here course index. State dot courses dot find index, and then takes course. Okay. And then you can do course dot ID. No, action dot payload dot ID. So you could either just directly access it, or you could have just like extracted to a variable like I did before, and then just direct and then use ID there. Is equal to course dot ID. Okay. So we're just going through all the courses in this list, and so this is all the course, like this is the individual course inside of the list, and then we're just making sure that the ID we got in the payload matches the ID in the array. And if it does, then we found our index. And we can go ahead and delete this. So to delete, you do course index. As long as it's not -1, you state dot courses dot splice course index. And so this will, it's basically splicing the array, removing uh, course index, and then like just one from there, one spot from there, and it's going to just remove that from the list. Okay, everyone with me? Okay, next up we have edit, but I want you guys to do this yourself. It should be very similar to what we did now, right now. So try this out on your own. Maybe take till 11:45 and try to do the edit function, edit reducer, and I'll take it up in 2 minutes. Okay, how did it go? Were you guys able to figure it out? I'll pick it up if you didn't, so no worries. It's very similar to delete course. You can actually just copy paste this one. Just name it edit course. We're expecting the same payload. You want to find the ID or the index of the course. So same thing here. And once you have the ID, actually, what you can do is, actually, no, this is fine. So as long as it's not -1, what you can do is update the course name. So course is update.courses dot course index dot name is equal to action dot payload dot name. And this time, I guess let's do it the other way. We can maybe put the course here as on new course info, for example, is equal to payload action dot payload. So that's our new course that's been sent to us. And then we can just use that here. So dot name, and we also want to update the what's the other one? Wait, if given. You don't really want to update the ID. That's a unique identifier. Recording, I'm not sure. Maybe Jane or Leanne, if you can answer that one. I guess the same place as the other workshops. But yeah, I guess I'll follow up on that later. Okay, so that's the edit. And then you have to select course. We can come back to that one, I think. Let's go ahead and move on. The next thing we sort of want to do is export our reducers and actions. So very simply just use export. I'm gonna export our 4 functions, 4 reducers, well 3 right now. And we're gonna be using these later in the code. We have edit course, and then we have delete course. And then I'm gonna also export the reducer itself. So we're exporting the reducer, and we're exporting the actions as courses slash actions. Okay. Next, what we can do, I have a basic setup of the store here. Oh, but we can add the new reducers and actions that we added here. So let's go back here in this basics kit. So we created our slice so far. We added our reducers. We exported. Next up, we want to set up the store. It's already kind of set up for you. We just want to add our new reducers into the store. You can do that. Yes, you can do that. But you can run into a problem if they were to modify the ID of the course and you update the ID as well, you could get into some consistency issues. Yeah, but if there was no ID, yeah, you could have just done that as well. Okay, so setting up the store, use the configure store function from Redux Toolkit, and make sure you have your reducer. So let's go to our index. So typically the store is like inside the store folder, you can make like index.ts file and just put the store there. So far we have a root reducer and it has a toast reducer here. So we can just put our courses reducer here. So then course reducer, gonna automatically import for me. Yep. And we should be good. So this also, let's remove this here. Actually, just keep it. So this is just the this is the type of like a root state. Root state is basically the entire application state. It encompasses all of the slices that we have. So we have toast, we have courses, we're gonna do grades soon. And then we're keeping all the reducers in here. So this would compose of all of the reducers that we have. So all of the toast reducers so far, all of the courses reducer, and then eventually the grade reducers. And then this is how you define your store. Use the configure store similar to the preview here, and you give it the root reducer. So this is like every reducer. You can ignore this middleware part. I don't think we actually need it. I'll comment it out. If we run into issues, I'll uncomment it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you also export the actions. So actions and the store. So plus store. So far we have our add toast, delete toast, and remember that three actions we added. So we had add course. Let's import it first, I guess. Not auto completing. Then we have add course here. Here. So course from slices, courses slice. Okay, so we have add course, we had edit course, and then we had delete course. Okay, and then we can simply just export them again. You could also directly like just fetch them from here, from the courses slice when you need them. But a good practice is just to make sure all the exports are centralized, and then you can just import from this one location. This makes for neater code. So yeah, that's it. Pretty much it for courses slice. We could do the edit. We can do the grades slice next. Actually, no. Let's actually do the page and try to use the actions that we just made. So let's go to dashboard. We can do the courses one first. So again, courses, it's this table here where it says your courses. So far it's static. This is all like hard coded here. If you see 87.5%, if you view it, it's going to go to a random course. And then, yeah, we could, I guess, start with the add course modal. So let's do add first. Right now, if you use this, I'm not actually sure what happens. Probably just not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work. Okay, so let's work on that one first. So you have the add course modal. All right, so this is the modal. I'm using Formic here for like form management. You don't, I would say just don't worry too much about this stuff. This is just like the form, like the course name, the weight, and then the button to add it. But let's focus on the Redux stuff. So when the form is submitted, so on submit function, you want to dispatch the add course action to update the state. So for that, we need the use dispatch hook. So you can do dispatch equal to use dispatch like here. And next up, we just want to dispatch the action. So dispatch here. So let's use that here. What we want to do now is use that reducer that we made, add course. And remember that we pass in the new object. We pass in the payload. So the payload here should be of type course. And that is defined here. So it needs an ID, a name, and a weight. So ID, it should be random. I have this nano ID function that should be accessible, like it's already installed. So you can just use this. It's going to create a random ID. And the name you have, for the name you want to use values, which is like the form values. Let me see if I can see the interface here. So yeah, so form values has the course name. So that's what we want to the name. Values.course name. And then weight is values.course weight. And that's dispatching the add course action. And once this is successful, our state will be updated. Okay, makes sense so far? Is there anything else we need to do here? Oh, undefined, set it to undefined after. We could do this later. Okay, so right now we can try to add it. You won't see it because we haven't done the get function yet, or the selector yet. But let's do something here. Do I have? There's also this Redux dev toolkit. Actually, yeah, I'll show you this. Toolkit dev tools. This is really good for like understanding what's going on behind the scenes. I do have it, but active to enable. So this is a very handy extension. Whenever you're working with Redux, I recommend using this. So you can do Redux dev tools, open in a new window. No store found. Let me try something. Is it working now? Okay, never mind. I probably have to reinstall this. Sometimes it can be buggy. But yeah, it is very useful. When I was working as a software engineer, super helpful. Okay. So next up, we want to do the table, like the question. Sorry for the last input I'm getting. Add course. Did you export it in the slice? And this is happening in the main and the index.ts. Okay. In the courses slice, if you go to the courses slice, have you done this part? So export that course, edit course, delete course. Yeah, okay, so just do that and make sure you also do the reducer. I'll send you that as well. So just make sure you do the reducer as well, export these, and you should be able to import them on the store and then just export them again. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so next up, let's work on the courses table. So this is the courses table. Now we want to actually fetch our courses from the Redux store and get rid of this static data. So we can just delete all of this. Yeah, we can just delete all of this. That as well. Okay, just keep that for now. Okay, so to get our data, we want to use selectors. So for now, we only have courses. So let's do courses is equal to use selector. Um, use selector, and then we want the state, and it should be state root state. And remember that this is defined here in the index root state. So we have our state here like so, and then we just want to fetch the courses dot courses. Okay. Next, we can just quickly just map these out. Let's make this a function. First thing we can do is if there's no courses, we can just simply display a text or something. So if courses dot length to 0, and just return some text. No course found. For example, one second. We could also use the empty row. So I have this component here. There you go. Empty row. So we could just use that. I think if we directly display text, it doesn't show up. So it's basically a wrapper. 0. Take the message. So you can say no course found. Okay, and just make sure. Call this function. Okay, so we have our no course found here. This is basically the empty row, like the gray background you see, and it just centers it. Everyone with me so far? This that should be in the index. So if you go to store, the store folder, and then the index here. Wait, no, sorry. No, not this one. It should be in the courses slice. Right here. Awesome. Okay. So since we don't have any courses, it's saying no course found. So let's test our dispatch. So we did the add functionality, right? So let's try to add a course, see what happens. Okay, so the empty message went away. We didn't see the code course because we didn't set up like the code to render our courses. We have access to our courses in this array. Where is it? Yeah, in this array. We just want to render these now. It is a bit of a lengthy code. I think I'll just send in the chat and you can copy and paste it. Yeah, let's do that. Give me a second. Okay. Let's get rid of this for now. Okay, and I think I'm missing colon something here. Yeah, okay. So I'll send this over so you don't have to type it, because I know it's a lot of GSX. All right. So this is basically just going through each of the courses in each of the course in courses array. And for each course, it's just rendering it out as a table row. So it's giving it a key, giving it a link, the course name, the percentage, which you haven't done yet, the weight. We divide by 2 because I think in the code, I'm just storing it as 1 and 2s. But in UFT system, they use like 0.5 and 1.0. So we just divided by 2 here. And then there's like a view button here. So if we go back to our code now, actually refresh this. Oops, expected. Did I mess up? Expected. Which line is that? 37. Return. This is the parentheses issue, I think. Oh yeah, I think I'm missing one here. Return is fine here. This one is fine as well. This is also good. And then this one leads to this one. That seems fine. Let me try again. Let me try copying it again. You can also do side by side. That's easy to see. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to copy that again. Okay, I think it's fine now. Not sure what I was missing. But yeah, I copied the message I sent in the chat. Okay, let's add a course now. For example, this, and then you have the course here. You have the cumulative grade, which we can't really compute this right now because we haven't done the grades functionality. So once we do that, we'll come back to this one. But at least you can see that you can add courses. Yeah, I can do that. Courses.txx here. I'll also just like maybe leave a comment here to do. Okay. All right. I just sent it in. All good. You guys need a minute or two catch up? Let's take maybe till 12, 11. Just make sure you get to this step. You can add the courses in. Right now, we don't have persistence. So like if you were to refresh your page, it would go away. But we'll do persistence at the end. Okay, let's continue. Oh, there's a question. In add course model, what is the correct code here? Dispatch. Did you define? I think your problem is that you haven't initialized dispatched. So you can just add course model. At the top level, you need to do this. Have you done that? Awesome. Uh, okay, let's do the grades now because without grades, you can't really do the stats and you can't also see the percentage here. One more thing before we continue, let's go to the app.tsx. This is React Router, if you're familiar with it. I added the static one, so we can actually just remove this one. So basically, if you were to do course one, it would open up this page. Because it was static, I added the static course, but now we don't need it since we're going to be dealing with dynamic course IDs. So here, and then basically this is like whatever course ID it is, it's going to open that one. Okay. Okay, let's go back to our store. So let's do our grades store really quickly, and then we can come back and build the rest of the UI. Okay, so grade, we need similar thing here. We need the initial state. Oh, actually, we have the initial state here. So grade state. This is a grade. Grade is defined here. So it has an ID, has a name, has a value, I guess. Yeah, value would probably be a better name. Has a weight, and then it's a course ID, so it's related to a course. And then we're indexing the grades by the course ID. So using the course ID, you can get the grade array, an array of grades. Kind of like a hash map, I guess. And then you have the grades state type. This is just, it has the data, and then grades by course ID. So it's basically the hash map here again. So that's the format of how it should look like. And initially, we just initialize data as an empty object, but eventually it'll contain our grades. So let's start by creating a reducer. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close all this. Let's go here. Go back here. So yeah, we have our initial state. We can use create slice. Let's actually just copy this, and we'll work with that. Okay, so this should be grades slice. You want to use the create slice function. Call this grades. You provide this initial state. Reducers in this case, there should be an add grade to be made, and there should be added grade. There anything else? Let me double check. No, I think this is it. Okay, so let's go ahead and build these reducers really quickly. Let's start with the add one because it's the easiest one. So add grade, this function should take the previous state. So in this case, it's grade state, and then an action, payload action. This time it's going to be the grade type. So grade, and what we want to do for this is just push it into the array. Flip up the arrow, I think. What happened here? Parsing. Oh, okay. I think it's good. It's just empty. So first thing we want to do is get the course ID. So we can just extract that out. So const course ID is equal to oh, we can use a separate directory, B structure, mostly B. Action dot payload. So we have a course ID. Let me just pick and then and all we want to do is just push create a new entry for that course. So we have this course ID, and then just push that grid into that. So you have the ID, make a new ID, nano ID. You can do name, action dot payload dot name. You need to do the grade, action dot payload dot grade, and you need to do the weight. 1 second. 1 second. Wait. My cat came in the way and it's blocking my monitor. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Okay, so wait, action about wait. And then the course ID should basically just be the course ID. I should have just like destructured everything and then used that. This is kind of stupid. But yeah. So that's our add grade reducer. We also actually we can do the remove one next. Remove grade. So it's going to be the same sort of idea. We want to find the index and then just remove type grade. So let's get. Let's actually just copy this. Remove grade. And then in this case, we need the ID, course ID, and then we also need the grade ID. So this is the grades ID. Remember, the grade also has an ID. Okay, and instead of pushing, we just want to find the grade index. So the const grade index is equal to grade.data course ID, then find index. Just loop through all of the grades and find the one that matches the ID. Okay, so we're just making sure we're just finding the one that has this ID, that one that's provided to us. And once we have the ID, and as long as it's not -1, we can update and remove it. Similar to last time. Okay. Grade index is possibly undefined. Course ID, state.data, course ID. Oh, I have to use find index. Please. Yeah, so use that. Mute the chat. If you need the code, like if you feel like you want me to paste the code, just let me know. I'll do that. but it's better if you follow along. Okay, and then the next one we need is the edit one. So I can do edit, or we just call it update grade. Actually, let's copy again. Update grade. And then same sort of idea here. We need the index, but instead of just splicing it, this time we can we just want to access that grade index, that grade, and then update it. So action back reload. Okay. This time we're also like we're also gonna update the ID because it doesn't matter too much in this case. For the ID here, it's like for courses, it's used in the URL, so you can't keep changing it. Yeah, so that's for update grade. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. Let's just close this, and close this, and we can just export our reducers. Create slice dot action, and then you want to reduce the. You also want to do the reducer. Okay, so export the actions and then export the reducer, similar to last time. Okay, I think that's it for the grades. Don't think we need this one. Yeah. Anyways, I guess I'll keep these for now. Now let's go do the rest of the. We can actually work on the grades page. Let's add a course. See if we can open it. Okay, so we can open this course. So that's the ID that we generated. These are static at the moment, so let's work on this now. Typing the questions. I'll just wait. Can you go back to the export reducers? Yeah. So just copy it here. I think we will probably go over time by 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Let's go and work on the courses page. So this is the course page. There's a few to-dos here. So there should be a to-do. Yeah, this to-do should be more descriptive, but and then don't think we really need to touch this part. So can you send this file to this one, course.tsx, or the grade slice? Great. Okay. I'll upload all this code as well. I'm on a different branch, so I'll just upload it to the solution branch. Okay, so courses, you'll see right now we have this statically defined object. It's just one course, and that's what we're using. And then here, the way the grades are rendered is you have this grades component. So if you go inside of this one, I have these statically defined grades here. So this is where we're going to use our selector and grab the grades from the store. And it's just going to, this time we don't have to touch the render method. It's just going to use that. And yeah, so this is rendering the grades here. Um, this is kind of responsible for like the adding, editing, and removing. So I guess let's start with this part. So here, oh, let me ask you a question. What function should we use here to grab the grades from the store? Anyone? It's gonna be one of these. So I guess one of these concepts. Which concept applies? Yep, use selector. Selector lets us, as the name says, select values from the store. So let's define that. Actually, no, we don't even have to define it. We can directly use it. So we can do maybe const grade is equal to use selector, and then use selector. Let me just reference over here. It has the state, and you can just access the state like this. So go back to the course. Sorry, the grades. So state, and then you want to return state dot. Let's give it a type. State dot grades dot data. I think maybe there's more to it than that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, you wanna make. Let's just delete this. You want to make sure you're returning you don't want all the courses. You just want the course ID. So let's pass in the course ID. You have it here, and that should. This is too big. Okay, much better. That should give you the grades for that course. Okay, and I don't think there's anything else to do here. We just had to use the selector. The render grade is already like putting the message out, and it's like mapping it for us in the grade row. Oh, I think we have an error. Okay, let's see what it is. Console. Cannot read properties of data. State. You selected state. Each turn. Cannot read line 12. Grades. They have use selector, we're using the state, and then we're using the returns state dot grades dot data course ID. I'm gonna try to see the course here. Close this. Let's go back to our store. Maybe there's an issue in the courses. Grade slice. So you have a grade, data, initial is right. Let me just double check. The initial is good. Oh wait, I think we didn't. Oh yeah, we should have added the tier. Wait, here. Let's add these users. Creates reducer. And then we also want to add our reducers. Okay. Yeah, that was the issue. Forgot this step. Okay. So next up, also you want to export them. And so update read. Okay. I don't think we did add yet, so let's work on that next. Do the add grade. So we're done with this grades file. Don't think there's anything else here to do. Close that. Let's now go to the grades. Oh, I think it's in the pages one. So pages, course, and then let's do handle add grade. Okay. So for this one, what we want to do is we just want to dispatch create reducer with appropriate action. Sorry, I don't know why my caps lock went up, but yeah. So let's initialize our use dispatch. And then we can go ahead and create the reducer. For the purpose of time, I think I'm just gonna, since we're over time, I'm just gonna copy paste from what I had before. Give me 1 second. So I'll also paste this in the chat. So we have our add grade. Person ID. Oh, we need to make the ID as well. So okay, we're making our action, and then we're just dispatching it, similar to last time. And then there's also delete. Maybe we will. I'll probably leave this one, I guess, for you as an exercise. And I'll post the solution. So leave this as exercise, and then done with that. All right. So let's test out our add grade. Add grade. Button. Handle add grade. Oh, not this one, I think. Where's the model? Okay, I think. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. Go back to our store. There's also another reducer that we have to add, but it's a different concept. So basically, every time any reducer gets executed, this piece of code will also get executed. So for this one, I guess I'll just copy and paste. So it's part of the extra reducers um, properties. So you can look you can look it up on the Redux docs on how this works. So let's do this. And yeah, so this is adding a case. So whenever you're adding a course, um, it's just adding the grades for it and initializing it as empty. So I think that the issue. Add grade. Let's see if there's an error. Oh, it seems like there is an error. Something with the push. Name, grade, weight, course ID. Now read properties of undefined. Add grade at 34. I guess the course ID is probably undefined here. So see course ID, course.id. Oh wait, we didn't select our course properly. Yeah, we have to use selector here. Use selector. It should be state dot courses dot. I think you have to actually. I'm gonna copy and paste this one as well. So you need to find the right course. Okay. Okay, and then once you refresh, like the date doesn't persist, so we gotta add it again. Okay, go here. Try to add some grades. Okay, now it works. So it's added an empty grade. So you can't edit it because we haven't done the edit functionality, but you can add grades like so. So I think we'll probably need more time to finish up the project. Um, Maybe we can do a part 2 of this workshop and continue doing the edit and the persistence. What do you guys think? Or I could publish the code or the solution code tonight, and you can look at that. Which one do you guys prefer? Because I think we might need more than just 10 minutes. We have remove left, so deleting the course. We have deleting the grade, and then we have editing the grade. So, and then there's persistence as well, and then using the cumulative. And this part is not too bad, but persistence. Yeah, I'll post it either way. Would you guys want the second workshop, like continuing off of this? So this repo here, uh, the starter code. It's a stripped down version, so that's the one I've been working on. But if you go on my account and you go to SemTrack, this is basically what I stripped it down from. So if you go here, you can see what everything is done here. It's a bit different. I have like also a GPA slice. I've sort of like integrated the GPA to be like the UFT standard GPA in this code base. But here you have the ability to change that. You can define different templates. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same. So last time we almost completed the app. We were able to add courses. So this is dispatching the add course action. You're able to add grades. We weren't able to edit them. We're not able to delete them, and we're not able to delete the course. This delete one is going to be an exercise for you. So just do that on your own time. It's good to practice these concepts, but we can do this edit together. So for this one, very simply, the way this component is laid out, you have this big form. There's the name, the grade, the weight. So these are input tags. I'm using an on-change event, and I have these event handlers. So for example, handle name change. All we really need to do here is just dispatch our event. So we want to dispatch the, oh, I should initialize dispatch. So const dispatch is equal to use dispatch here. And then we want to dispatch our event, which is update grade. And for our action, we want to keep the same values, except, so this should give us the same values. So everything should be the same except for the name. We want to update that to e.target.value, which is basically the value of the form or whatever you type it in here. So this should be updating, and you can see the events being passed in with the right payload. For the other three, it's very similar. We just dispatch the update event. So let's just do this here. In this case, we want to update the grade. And also grade, we should parse it to an integer. So parse int. And then we should be able to send the grade in. So 10, 80%, 60%, 80% or something for this one. 80%. A2, for example. And you can see that it passed in. All right, so similarly, we do the same thing again for the weight change. Use the weight here. And lastly, for the remove, it's a different event. We want to use the remove grade event, I think. Yeah, remove grade. And just, I think we just pass in the grade, and it can handle everything for us. So that's really it. You should be able to remove stuff now as well. Again, this is an exercise, so just do that on your own time. So let's go back here. Next thing we want to do is do these stats here. For these, you can go to semester stats inside the dashboard components dashboard. And to calculate these, we have to use a couple of util functions that I provided. So I think just one util function, this calculate GPA from courses, and note that it returns an average GPA and an average grade in percentage. That's exactly what we want. So we just need to pass it courses and grade state. So let's do that. We can do const average GPA. I'm just going to use destructure, average grade in percentage is equal to, and I'm going to delete these ones. We can use the use selector, and then inside the selector, we want to state. And this time, instead of returning the state, a specific state directly, we're just going to do our computation within the selector. So we can do return What's the function name? Average, I think, calculate GPA from horses. Yeah, and it takes horses and the grades, I think. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And that's should be over here like this. We need to update the weight because the weight is 0, 40. You do 60 here. Let's go back here. All right, so we have 2.7 GPA, an average grade is 72, 72% cumulative grade in CSE 108. Seems about right. So yeah, that's it for the grade part. Finally, what we want to do is do persistence, because over here, if we refresh the page, everything is gone, and that's kind of pointless. So we want to make sure there's a way to persist. For that, you can use this library called redux persist, and you can basically select what state you want to just persist in local storage, and it'll just stay there. So this is sort of the usage. You want to wrap it around a persist gate. You want to have a persister, and this is how you can create a persister. So let's go ahead and do that. We can go into the redux index file, which is around store. Close all these. Okay, so index. We can add our persistence here. So let's just copy this. Copy the persist config. Storage. We need to import it from here. And cannot find. Let me try to import it myself. Actually, storage. I don't think that's right. Storage. Get storage. Let's try this one. See, I think it should be fine. It's not erroring out. So we have that. And next we need the persist reducer. So let's just copy that as well. Just this. And let's actually put this in the next line since we need it on the root reducer. And then I think we just need to export the persister, and we need to create our store using the persisted reducer instead of using a root reducer. So here we can change this to persisted reducer. And then our persister, we can just copy it from here. Okay. Persist store, we need to import that as well. Okay. And we can export the persister because we need to put it, we need to wrap our app around it. I think that's it. We don't want to do all of the state. I think, so wait, there's cannot find a declaration file. Let me give me 1 second. Copy these from here. Okay. Let me try to reinstall this library. So I'm gonna do npm install redux persist. Here. And I think this one. For removing certain things from the persister, you can use the blacklist parameter. So we don't want to store the toast and the GPA because these are computed on the spot. I'm not sure why this is bugging out. I think it's like a config issue. Let's see. Image. And then this. Try this one. Oh, okay. I think this is good. Okay. And then, so I guess it was using the ES one, and that's not right. So use the second one here, and that should be good too. And yeah, we can just export that and change it to a const because we're not modifying this. Now all we need to do is go to our app. So close all of this. Main. So we can go to main actually, and then we just want to wrap it around. So we can do persist gate. And then persister, we can import it in our store, and then persist gate. That one I think should be good. All right, then we just want to close it. All right. And I think that's pretty much it. I think if you add a course now, 3708, I think it should stay. Yeah. So if you refresh the page, it's going to persist. It's stored in local storage, and you can add some grades. So you can do A1. You got 90%. Let's say it's weighted at 25%. And then you can close your browser, come back after a while. So I'm just gonna close this here, and then it'll still be here. So that's pretty much it. That's about it for this project. Make sure you do this part on your own time. It'd be very similar to what we did. But yeah, thanks for watching.